Hey everyone. Okay, we've finally got it now. Um, this is fantastic. I'm really, really grateful for your patience, and I'm just going to update the link on the live page, and then we can finally get started with the sound. Okay. If you're watching the replay, then please skip ahead a couple of minutes while I sort the tech out because we had a few challenges this time. But I should be with you in 1 second. So today's session is all about creating awesome newsletters, newsletter best practices, and I want to share some tips on working with ConvertKit as well. It's the newsletter provider that I use and that I recommend to all my clients as well. I've started out with MailChimp, and then I've been with Entreport last year, and I'm now finally with ConvertKit. And there's a couple of things I really love about that. Okay, so let me just let everyone know that sound works now. Okay, let me just double check. Everyone know. Yay! Oh my god, I'm so happy. You guys, this is the best. Please refresh the page. Okay, we're finally live. I'm so sorry. I have no idea why the sound was initially not working. And also, I'm sorry my face looks funny today. I have had my eyelashes tinted yesterday and I had an allergic reaction, which was really unpleasant. So let's dive really straight into it because I know you've been waiting a long time and I'm really sorry about the tech issues. So we're talking about newsletter best practices today, and I want to share a little bit about how you can work with your ConvertKit account or with any other newsletter provider that you might be using. So let me see if there's any new comments. If you have questions, you can honestly ask me anytime. I'm absolutely happy to help, and I created a little presentation that I want to share with you so we can go through really quickly because you probably already saw what I shared when there was no sound. So I'm gonna just really quickly go through that. Okay, let me share my screen. Ta-da, ta-da. So we're going to talk today about general newsletter best practices, about setting up your ConvertKit account. I'm going to show you how you can move your contacts over and why segmentation is so important. I also want to show you how you can create an awesome nurture sequence, and we're going to recap from last week what that can look like. I'm going to show you how to deliver an awesome opt-in freebie and how to work with automations to upsell and target your audience. Cool, let me check for questions. Yes, sound, Cecile, I'm so happy. Thank you so much for your patience. I really know this is super annoying, and I still don't really know, to be honest, what happened there. I'm gonna have to check with YouTube after the session. But yeah, keep the questions coming as you have them. So, general newsletter best practices. I would recommend that you have all your contact information in your footer, and I'm going to show you what that looks like for me in a second. I would say create a beautiful branded header and use it consistently. And if you're not sure how to design one, go back to the first session that we had together in week 1, where we talked about using Canva to create really beautiful branding. Then I would say make sure your send address is not a Gmail one, and that's because if you use a Gmail address as your send from address, it's very often flagged up as spam or spoof. And that's very unfortunate because then it lands in people's spam inbox and your newsletters just get a lot less attention. So that's a really good reason to set up a domain-based email address. And if you're not sure how that works, do feel free to post in the Facebook group and I can point you in the right direction. Then I would say personalize your emails, but not too much. And what I mean by that is that it's nice to address people with their first name. And again, I'm going to show you how that works in a second. And then I would say always let people know what to expect from your newsletter. So especially if you're writing quite a long one and you're sharing like maybe a bit of your background story or a longer briefing on something that you're offering, then it's really nice to let people know what to expect from reading from your email at the very top. So you can open with something like, hey, Sarah, in this email, I'm sharing some of my background story with you, or read on if you want to know more about my latest offering, because it's really hard to overestimate the attention span that we currently have. You know, I think a lot of newsletters don't even get open because the subject line isn't great, or people kind of stop halfway through. So it's really good to let people know what to expect and to also break things up with visuals. And let me show you how I do this in my account. So I use ConvertKit, as you know, and I would like to show you exactly how I'm bringing all this information into my newsletters. So I'll share a different screen. Ta-da! So I'm going to log into my account. Oh dear, it's locked me out. Sorry about that. So I'm going to just open any broadcast, and they all pretty much look the same, which is great. And then if I go to content here, you can see that I always have the same header image here. So this is something I created in Canva. And then I have hey first name, so I'm personalizing it that way. And then here's the body text. I'm working with highlights to kind of draw people's attention to specific areas. And then I'm closing always with this little footer here. And again, this is a graphic I made in Canva. Super simple to make. You will understand exactly how this works if you watch the first webinar. And then I have, specific links to my 2 websites, and also I'm saying let's be friends on the different social media channels that I really like. So that would really be my tip. This is how I would set it up. And then, as you can see here, or actually you can't see that on here, but I have a domain-based send from address. So it's hello@onlineawesomeness.com, and not my Gmail address, which I use for everything else. Let me go back to my presentation. Hello again. Because I also wanted to recap what a great nurture sequence can be like. And I'm going to show you again how we can set that up in practice in your ConvertKit account, but I just wanted to recap what we talked about last week when we spoke about creating a really awesome nurture sequence. So to explain, a nurture sequence is the sequence that people receive after signing up for your freebie offer. And so the first email in the nurture sequence would say something like, hey, thank you so much for inviting me into your inbox. This is the freebie that I've promised you, and here's how you can learn more about me and my work. And here are the tips that I wanted to share with you on that. So I would say introduce yourself and make sure that people understand a little bit more about your background story, maybe even why you're doing the work that you're doing and why you're so passionate about that. And then also say thank you for inviting you into the newsletter inbox, because that's such a personal invitation. You know, I think we're all kind of trying to declutter, and if someone does sign up to learn more about your work, that's a really quite a big commitment. Then I would say lead people to your best blog post. So I have a nurture sequence that gives them 3 of my most popular blog posts that are really kind of, they're solving specific problems. They're really speaking to my audience because I've listened to them and I've answered specific questions that have come up, for example, in my Facebook group. And then I'm encouraging engagement with the freebie. So again, that's something that is really related to the short attention span that we now have. Very often I see, and I do this myself, of course, I see people sign up for freebies and then never actually using it because it's been free, and so there isn't really an incentive to do so so much. And again, we're all leading really busy lives. So I would really say have some kind of incentive for people to actually engage with what you're giving them. And that could be, ask them some questions about it, follow up, let them know exactly what the difference it can make in their life. So if, for example, you're a health coach and you're sharing a couple of recipes, really let them know that expanding what they can do in a kitchen is going to make a difference in their life, or maybe even give them a review of someone else who's worked with you and has experienced some kind of transformation, to really make sure that they're motivated to take a look at what you're offering. Then let people know how they can work with you and what to do if they have questions. So that's another kind of little mistake that I see people make a lot in their welcome or nurture sequence, where it's just not really clear what they're offering. And you have to remember that many people will maybe just read one of your blog posts and then opt in. They might never see the rest of your website, and so they might not even be sure that you're offering tarot readings or coaching or some other kind of service. So let them know very specifically how they can work with you. And also make sure that you're really approachable. So if email is your preferred method of communication, say, hey, if you have a question, just hit reply. Or if you want to send them to specific places online on social media, then let them know as well. So I always ask people to come to my Facebook group, because I like I like the fact that we're helping each other out in there, and very often people will ask a question and then many other people will see that question as well and receive the same answer, and that saves me time and it's great for everyone as well. And then the next point is let people know what to expect. Again, that really depends on what your plans are with the newsletter. I know many people that are very consistent. So Lisa, for example, of wildsensitivesouls.com, who's really wonderful, is sending out a newsletter every Sunday with an energy forecast for the week. And I really love reading that on Sunday. And I would honestly miss it if it wasn't coming. But I also know that is a big commitment for Lisa, and I'm personally not sending out my emails every week. So yeah, I think for Lisa, it's probably really beautiful to share this energy forecast, and there's some real consistency there. But if I'm really honest, and when I tried to send it every week, it was really stressing me out, and I was coming up with content that wasn't, to the quality that I wanted it to be. And so sometimes I sent newsletters that just weren't really feeling good. So I just made this rule for myself that I'm only emailing people when I have something important to say. But again, of course, I'm paying a price for that, and I might not be getting in front of people as often as I wish. So I think there's no hard and fast rule. There's no way of really doing this right or wrong. It really depends on how easy it is for you to create content and what you can come up with each week, and how you want to nurture the relationship that you have with your audience. Then tell them about any special offers. So again, whenever you have a sale or you have open spots, maybe something that is going last minute at a discounted rate, make sure that you're going back into your welcome email and you're editing that in, and edit it out again when the offer ends. But it's really important to use that first contact to let people know about any offers that you might have. And then finally, follow up and exceed their expectations. And so what I mean by that, there's a couple of things that I would love to see in everyone's welcome email, and these are the points above here. But I would then also say follow up maybe 3 days later, and then again 7 days later, and just say, hey, have you had a chance to look at what you've been sent? Do you have any questions? Again, you can come to the Facebook group and ask there, and I'm happy to support you. And I think, especially for people who maybe signed up at a time when they were really busy, and then they kind of forgot about the first email and filed it somewhere safe, which is something that I do as well. Having a follow-up a couple of days later that reminds them that they received something really valuable for free is really awesome. Cool. Do you have any questions so far? I'm going to come back and be live. Hi. Okay, let me see if there's any questions in the chat box. It seems not. That's great. But I would love to hear from you if you have any questions. Okay. Awesome. So don't be shy. Okay, great. Well, if you don't have any questions, then we can carry on and talk about the next things. So I really would love to show you how you can move contacts over to ConvertKit, and that really applies to any newsletter provider. Now there's a question. Okay, hang on. Sorry I'm late. Oh, Lisa, that's totally okay. You know what? We had to start late, unfortunately, because my sound wasn't working. And I'm so happy you're here, so that's great. So I wanted to show you how you can move contacts over to ConvertKit, and that applies to any newsletter provider that you might choose to work with now or in the future. So I have set up a Mailchimp account to show you how this works. And again, I'm just going to log in, and then I'm going to share my screen with you. And then we can also, while we're at it, look at newsletter segmentation and how you can achieve that the second you are uploading your contacts. So you're not starting from scratch. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, hang on. Okay, 1 second. In the meantime, tell me how your day was and how you're feeling. I would love to know. It's raining like crazy over here. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but it is really wild, and my dog is soaking wet. Oh God, this. Okay, one more second. I don't know. Today is not my tech day. I'm in. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Hallelujah. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Okay, so we're looking at a test MailChimp account that I have set up. I was indeed with MailChimp when I was just starting out. And then I moved to Entreport, which was great, but really expensive. So eventually I moved to ConvertKit, and that's what I recommend for all my clients now. So I'm going to go ahead and open my list, and I've just subscribed to myself as a test. And then you have a little button here that says export list, and that's again going to be a little bit different across different newsletter providers, but basically it would look like this. And what you receive is a CSV file, which should come up any second. So I'm just going to wait for that and then download it. And then you want to be in your ConvertKit account or whichever newsletter provider you're using, and then you're going to go to subscribers, or that's often called contacts in other accounts. And then you want to say import subscribers, and now you can drag and drop the CSV file here. And now the reason I'm talking about segmentation at this point is that you can choose the tags that you want to give all the contacts that you're uploading here. So if, for example, you had a MailChimp account, you had different lists in there, and you want to upgrade the ways you're tagging people, then this is your chance to do that right away. So say, for example, you had newsletter list A and newsletter list B in MailChimp, you can now go ahead and create a new tag, or choose one of the ones that I already have on the list here. So I'm going to say creative future students. That's what I want this to be added to. And then I'm going to have to wait until I can download this here. So let me just see if it's available now. It is. Export as CSV. I'm going to open that. And then very often it displays in a funny way, in that it has too many rows. So all you need really is the first name and the email address, unless you're coming from a newsletter provider that already has some kind of tagging system. And then you can transfer the tags as well, but I'm going to assume that that's not the case, because that's not true for most people. So I'm going to take all these rows out. I'm going to say delete. And then I'm going to expand that, check that it's fine, that's fine. And then I want to save this to my desktop. So I'm going to say save as, and then to my desktop and save. Continue. And then I'm going back to ConvertKit, and here I can select that CSV file now. So that should be this one here. And now it's going to ask me to match the different fields. So this is the email, clearly. I'm going to see the sample data here. And so it will always show you the first set of data. If you have hundreds or just one, it doesn't matter. It will always show you the first here. And so you can just match these up. And the second name I actually don't need, so I'm going to ignore that. And then I'm asking to import, and now this contact has this tag automatically, which is really great. So again, let's look at the tags in a little bit more detail. I can create a new tag here. I can name it anything I want, and then I can have automations in place, which I will also show you in a minute, that will tag each new incoming contact with that particular tag. So if I go one step back and I look at the different forms that I have, for example, that might make more sense to you. And again, let me know anytime you have questions, you want me to stop and expand on anything that I'm sharing with you. So as you can see here, I have all kinds of different forms. So this is a pop-up I currently have on my site, for example. I've only been using that for about a week, I think. Then this is a sign-up form that I've had that you guys signed up through. And this is the main Dare Doing Roles opt-in. So I'm actually sharing my numbers here as well, which is a bit, I think not everyone would do that, but I'm also really into transparency. So I'm sharing that with you. Hang on, let me just check that I see the chat box. Okay, there seems to be no new questions. That's good. So this is what I have on the Daydreaming Roles opt-in, and then this is the one that you see on my main website here. So if I open that, this is the opt-in that I have embedded here, where people can sign up. So all the different places that I'm inviting people to opt in have a different opt-in form. And that's great because I can see what my conversion rate is. And that's actually really important information. So for example, the pop-up converts at only 7.9%, but then it gave me 33 subscribers, which is great. The Daydreaming Rose opt-in on the main site that I have converts at about 10%, which is actually a really good rate because there's so much cold traffic coming that way. And so 10% of the people who see that site here will actually sign up for my 6-part tarot folk and folk herbalism audio course. So that's awesome. I'm really happy with that. But as you can see, this, for example, the sidebar has a higher conversion rate. The main Sarah Magdalena Love opt-in currently isn't converting that well, so I could look into that. Maybe it has too much text. Maybe it's just not what people are looking for when they get to my homepage. So there could be all kinds of different reasons. And as you go on in your business, that information is really valuable, and that's not something that you can usually create in a free newsletter account like MailChimp, for example. And so where people come in through these different opt-ins also then determines how they're being tagged. And how that works is here under automations, you can see I have a really long list of automations, and I'm going to show you how you can add new ones here as well. So for example, if someone opts in my main newsletter site, so over here into this box, they will come through the main SML opt-in form, and they will then be subscribed to the welcome sequence. So that's the nurture sequence that we just talked about, and they will be added to the tag sarahmagdalenalove.com subscriber. So that's my really broad general tag that describes everyone who's coming through the online and web design business. And I have these two main broader tags, which is sarahmagdalenalove.com and then Daydreaming Rose, because I run these two businesses separately. And of course, they have a big overlap. So there's a lot of people who have actually subscribed to both newsletters, which is really beautiful. I love that. And the great thing in ConvertKit as well is that each contact is only counted once. So when you have a paid account, how much you're paying each month really depends on how many contacts you have. And some other newsletter providers like MailChimp, I believe, count them double. So if you have them on different lists or on different tags, then they're being counted double. And so that's quite important. I also have similar automations for all the other opt-ins. So if, for example, someone subscribes under my blog post in Daydreaming Rose, they get these tags here. If someone subscribed to my freebie on Teachable, so I have a connection with Teachable here, because that's where I am delivering my free do-it-yourself web design and branding starter kit, then they get this tag as well. And they also are being subscribed to this sequence, which is the free do-it-yourself web design and branding kit. And that's important because there is a certain content that kind of, as I described, leads them into the experience of actually working with this opt-in that I received from me. Cool. Let me know if these automations so far make sense. I'm going to go ahead and check the text box, the chat box again. Cool. Yeah, it seems there are no questions. That is great. Okay. So I also want to talk a little bit about how you can set your newsletter account up to save yourself some time. So as you can see here, I'm working with different templates. And one way of doing that is under account here, you can go and edit your email templates. And so by default, you would have the plain text one, but you can also use this template and then customize it in a way that you would want to. And there's a really extensive library with information about how you can tweak these, and you can also chat with them here. But I'm going to show you something that is, I find, a lot easier. So I am just duplicating my broadcast. And so rather than clicking new broadcast here, I'm just going on one that I've already created. And then I'm going on duplicate here. And again, that's something that applies to most newsletter providers. You don't have to be in ConvertKit to do this. And then I'm clicking on the one that I have just duplicated. I'm confirming here, and again, that's a functionality that I love about ConvertKit. I can say send this to all subscribers that have this tag and that also have this tag that belong to the Do-It-Yourself Summer School, because not everyone that has subscribed to my web design and online marketing business has also chosen to participate in the Do-It-Yourself Summer School. So again, this kind of list segmentation isn't something that you can do with the most free newsletter providers. And if you ever want to run a program or you want to talk to a specific group of people, then this kind of segmentation is really what you need. So I'm confirming who I want this to be sent to, and then I'm confirming the next step. And then I have the chance to edit the subject line here. So I'm going to take copy out for sure. And then I can say A and B testing. Again, that's really interesting. And I would recommend that you look at that, especially if you're unsure about your subject lines, because that can make a huge difference. So try different things out. It's always going to send 50% of your emails to, with this subject line, and then the other 50% with the B. And then you can just that way get a feeling of what your opening rates are like. And yeah, so I think opening rates are really such a big subject. Sometimes I've had 25%, sometimes I've had 70%, and it really depends on, how many emails have people already received from you that month, what is the subject line like, what kind of time in a day are you sending it out. That's also important. So if, for example, you mainly have a US-based audience and you're sending it out from Europe in the middle of the night, I've done that, then people will probably wake up to their inbox with yours and lots of other newsletters, and it's less likely that they will open yours. So yeah, think about that as well. And you can also schedule your newsletter, which I will show you in a minute. And then I have the body email content here. So as you can see, I've uploaded a graphic, and I can do that by inserting image, choose file, and then I'm centering that. Oops. And then I have my Hey Subscriber, and this personalization, I'm just going to take this out to show you how you can edit. You're going to go personalize, and then so say subscriber's first name. And then, oh, sorry. And then you can just take the body text out and fill it with whatever you want to say. So you're just using kind of the outline of that newsletter, and then you write the new newsletter. And then you still have the footer here as well. So again, this is a graphic that I've uploaded, and then I just went ahead and added this text here and added my links as well. If you want to add a link, you would highlight this word that you want to link, and then you would press this link here, say insert link, and then very important, make sure that you click this box that says open link in new tab, so that people are not clicking and then going away from the newsletter, but instead there's a new tab that opens in the window. And then you can add the URL in here. And then finally, when you're done writing, you're going to say next step. And then, oh, sorry, sometimes something didn't work here. Next step. Oh yeah, okay. So if I said send news broadcast now, it would go out immediately, but I can also schedule it here. So I can choose a date in the future, for example, tomorrow at 2 a.m. funny time. And then I would say, yes, schedule broadcast, and then it would be here under my scheduled broadcast. Another thing that I wanted to show you in here is the statistics and the reports that you can see in ConvertKit. So here, for example, I have a report for one of the emails I've sent out for the Do-It-Yourself Summer School. So this is how many people received this at the time. This is the opening rate, and then this is the click rate. And if I clicked, so I'm not going to do this now because then you would see a lot of client data. But under receipt, I can see everyone who's received it. Here I can see everyone who's opened it. And then here I can see which people have clicked. And here I can see who unsubscribed. And then I can also choose to resend to everyone that hasn't opened that email. I think that's a feature that is unique to ConvertKit as well, at least at the moment. So when you're sending something out and you maybe have like an opening rate of 30%, you can resend this email to everyone who hasn't opened, which I think is great. Cool, so we talked about saving time and scheduling. We talked about why you want to tag and segment your list, which is really important. I wanted to show you next how you can set your nurture sequence up and how you can deliver your freebies. Cool. As I said, if you've got any questions, I'm just going to check back on the chat box, then do let me know. I'm really happy to answer them. Okay, it sounds like you guys are great and doing amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, so I have a big number of different sequences in my account. For example, I have a welcome email for the Do-It-Yourself Summer School. If you maybe remember, it says something like, hey, thank you so much for signing up. Here is the link to the replays that we have so far. You haven't missed out. You can still download the worksheets and watch the replays. And then it also says you can join us in a Facebook group and you're welcome to ask any questions there and so forth. And then this is a nurture sequence that is related to the freebie that I have on my site. So the free do-it-yourself branding kit, people get a little sequence with that. Let's look at that actually. I think this one is the older one, so there's a new one now. But basically, the first one goes out right away, and then 3 days later they get another one, and then again 6 days later there's another one. So the subject line is, here is your do-it-yourself web design and branding kit. Again, I have the header that I'm using everywhere. I've personalized this. I'm saying thank you so much for signing up to receive this kit. I really hope it serves you well. You can ask questions here. That is actually an older one. The newer one has more content. And then 3 days later, I'm saying again, you know, how did you get on with the do-it-yourself branding kit? Don't worry if you haven't had the chance to look at it yet. It's yours to keep and you can totally take your time. I'm also sharing some other blog posts and resources that are valuable for people who want to build their platform, like my latest blog post here. And then I'm saying, if you want to dive deeper with this, you can sign up for my branding courses and you get a discount here. Or if you prefer to work with me one-on-one, you can check my packages out here and you get a discount if you book and you're on my newsletter. And then I'm sending a final reminder that's saying like, hey, this is your last chance to save $40 on my courses. I'm actually really glad that this is coming up as an example because this is not the sequence that I'm currently using. I have stopped giving time-based discounts, and that's really a big discussion and like something that I could work, run a whole workshop in itself on. But I've decided not to give people time limits on using the discounts that I'm offering because I think it's a bit pushy, and sometimes there is scarcity that's real. For example, if I'm saying, hey, I have a spot for my web design clients in September and I'm giving a discount because it's a summer booking, then there is probably only one website that I can do, and so that is real. But the discounts that I'm offering on the courses don't actually go away, and I think that is something that many online marketing specialists teach, that you should really have this almost fake scarcity or create some kind of urgency for people. And I'm really not sure how I'm feeling about that. I do know that it works, and that's why I've done it in the past, but I'm just really wondering if there's better ways of inviting people to check your stuff out. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on this as well, to be honest. As I said, I'm really kind of still thinking about how I want to work with that. So let me show you how you can create a new sequence. I'm going to give it the test name, say create sequence. And then by default, I will just have the first one here, and I want to have this published. And then the first one doesn't go out a day later, but right away. And so I could add a header here by inserting image, and then I could change this whole text. And then I would want to have my footer in here as well. And then I would add the next email. And again, I would publish that and then decide how many days later it's going to go out. And I can also say it won't go out on a Saturday or Sunday if I don't want to pester my clients on a weekend. I think that, again, really depends on the kind of people that you're talking to and what your business feels like. And again, I could fill this in with content and have my image here as well. And then the great thing is I can also see in the reports here where people are dropping off. So are they opening the first email, but then on the fifth email, they're kind of losing interest and they're not opening it anymore. So that's all really valuable information that you might want to look at. Let's talk also about how you can deliver your opt-in freebie. So if, for example, you have a PDF, and again, check the first Canvas session out that we did together if you want to learn how you can create an awesome PDF that is branded. But if you've done that, or if you have an audio file, for example, or a video even, you can go ahead and upload that into your WordPress media library. Another good reason to be on WordPress, by the way, and we're going to have a session on WordPress as well. So you want to go to media and then say add new. And then you want to have your PDF file on your desktop. So you want to say choose file. I'm going to use this one here, which is the presentation for the day. And I'm going to say upload. And then it comes up. So if I then open it, I get a custom URL just for this file here. And then I can go back to my ConvertKit account. And if this sentence here said something like, hey, thank you so much for signing up, here's your PDF, then I would highlight the word here. Let's pretend that's what it is. And then I would go ahead and insert the link here that I've just received. And then again, I want to make sure that it opens a new tab. And I'm going to say insert. And then I'm going to say save all at the top. So that's something that's really important in ConvertKit. Always save what you're doing, especially if you're jumping between the different tabs here, because you can otherwise lose your content. And then if people open this link, I'm just going to show you what that looks like. They can download the PDF straight from there. So it's a really easy and beautiful way to deliver your freebie. As I said, if it's a video, we talked about that last week, then I would recommend that you upload that to YouTube or Vimeo as well, and that you're linking to that YouTube or Vimeo link in your email. Because if you upload it straight into your WordPress library, it might slow your website down a little bit. I'm going to come back to you. Can you see me again? Yeah, so cool. That's mainly what I wanted to show you today. I really hope you learned some stuff about how you can work with your newsletter account, and especially with ConvertKit. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them now in the chat box, or come to the Facebook group and let me know there. Oh, my eyes look really awful. I'm telling you, I have such a bad allergic reaction. I really hope it's going to go away soon. Okay, so let me just check back on the comment box again and see if you guys had any questions. Ta-da! Thank you so much for sticking with me today. I know this was a really annoying start when we just couldn't figure. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. When we just couldn't figure the sound out. That was super frustrating. I actually had someone in the Facebook group asking yesterday how I'm running these YouTube lives, and I'm going to figure out what the sound problem was, and then I'm going to record a video on how you can create these kinds of webinars as well. So this is free. Hosting them on your own website with this chat box and YouTube Live as a broadcasting platform is free. And that's actually saving you a ton of money, because software like Zoom or Easy Webinar usually starts at $49 a month. I've tried them as well. I had a free trial for Webinar Jam, for example, for the first webinar I did, I believe in June. That was like a one-off thing, not part of the summer school. And it was okay, but to be honest, from a technical point of view and from the user experience, I didn't prefer this one. So yeah, we had a tech issue with the sound, but I think that probably was fixable. I mean, who knows? But I don't think that is necessary to spend like $50 or more a month on a webinar software. So I'm gonna write a blog post with a video showing you how you can set these up yourself, and I'm gonna post that in the group and send it out in the newsletter. Yeah, again, thank you so much for coming today and having patience with me. And yeah, if more questions come up as you watch this or as you go into your own ConvertKit account, then do feel free to email me or post in the group. Have a beautiful day. Bye.